Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I created Magic and Miracles to help people of all walks of life achieve their manifestation goals. All the information from me is below. If you'd like to be in coaching with me, understand that you need to pre-book, sign the coaching agreement, scan it after signing it by hand, and email it to me together with your availability to rendezvous the first time around, at which point we discuss the schedule for you. I recommend the signature coaching package. That's the real deal if you really want to see change in your life. And I recommend 2 to 3 months in coaching with me with that package. Some people, 2 months is enough. Some people stay for longer. So it depends on the situation. Currently, I'm being really booked up. So I would advise you, if you need my help sooner rather than later, I would highly recommend booking right away. And if you need to pre-book more than 1 month, in the installment situation, to me, it turns out that it's a better deal, from what I understand from my clients, because you don't have to sign up month to month. So that's something to consider if you need installments. And if you do need installments, the links are directly in the description box, as well as they are on my website in the description all the way on the bottom. But they're also included in the description box for to make things easier for you. Okay, you can always, of course, book one session in order to make sure we're a good match, and you can read through the coaching agreement. That is, everything on it is non-negotiable. You need to get familiar with what it's very reasonable, but just to make sure, you never know. During that hour, we sit down, via phone call or a Zoom session. You let me know what you prefer, and we go over what we need to work on. Essentially, you tell me about yourself. I ask a lot of questions about your upbringing, etc., etc. And upon which I basically tell you what I would do. I mean, you immediately get advice, and I will tell you what we would work on specifically. I've done this for 9 years. I know exactly what to do in each situation. The question becomes if you allow me to do that. 90% of people that come into my coaching do, and they do succeed. You do achieve shifts in my coaching unlike anywhere else. And that is because I do my due diligence. I'm very thorough, and I pride myself in my process. It's not necessarily the most popular process, but it's the most efficient one. And if you really do this in earnest, you will succeed in my coaching. If you have any questions about what I just said, booking coaching with me, etc., please email me. Both emails are directly below as well. So this audio will be dedicated to frequently asked questions. I really meant to record one like this for a while now. And I understand people have a lot of questions for me. Who am I? What gives me the reason to call myself a coach, etc., etc., all these kinds of things. And you know what? You're more than entitled to this information, as you should. And I already recorded a bunch of things, and I talk about myself all the time. I also recorded an audio about my journey. I can't remember now what it's called for the life of me, but it's there. Something about my life or something like that. My story. Yeah, that's what it's called. So I'm going to start out from the beginning. The number one question that I receive is, where am I from? Okay, so I'm an American now. I've been in America for over 20 years. But I was born Russian. So Russian-born American. Okay, I've lived in France, Italy growing up. During my parents' divorce, very kind of tumultuous divorce it was. And I came to New York at 17 years of age. I was modeling for a while. and I got into fashion to model, but it ended up that I really wanted to be on the creative side. That's kind of my world and has been my world since age 15. Okay. But inevitably so, inspired by my own journey at at the point of parting with my most toxic relationship that has ever been known to man. No, I'm not going to pretend that that's the case, but it's pretty close. Okay, in 2011 I underwent a major revolution, major reconstruction of my mind, and it prompted me to completely redo my life. 2012 was a profound year for me, and by 2015, after diving into metaphysics like head on, like totally immersed into that world, and I'm going to talk about what exactly I studied. I started coaching people in 2015. Very slowly at first. I wasn't going to. I was just talking about it nonstop. And what fascinated me the most, I might as well say, like, from which angle I approached it in the beginning and where I am now. Like a lot of people, I was not convinced, let's just say, at my first brush with the law of attraction or metaphysics, etc. Maybe because it was my mom who first, ironically enough, tried to introduce me to like people like Abraham Hicks and these kinds of people, and I didn't take to it. And it wasn't until 2011 when I really was, well, I wouldn't say I was in despair. I think I was just completely drained and distraught and just disgusted for having been in that position at age 28, 27, 28. I thought that I should have been far more along in life than where I was, dealing with the issues that I was dealing with up until then in my romantic life. But so that really evoked this necessity to search for answers. Like, how the fuck do I upgrade my life? Why the fuck am I continuing to make all these mistakes? And for me, like for everybody, I started with science. Okay, I'm going to be completely transparent. And I've talked about this, not that I wasn't transparent before, but to me, it made more sense to go from physics, metaphysics, quantum physics, and make more sense that way. And once that connection was established, I welcomed more information. And I really went crazy, I have to say. Of course, like everybody at some point, and stumbled into Neville. And he, as fascinating as Neville is, don't get me wrong, he absolutely is. I love the way he speaks. I think that's very important. The delivery matters, in other words. I love his confidence. I love his story. But at the same time, though, I think if Neville lived in today's world, I believe that he would have been a lot more brave in explaining things rather than, in other words, I feel like he did not give us the entire picture. I think he was trying really hard not to pass for a crazy person at that time. And so the way he would really create his speeches was to veil them into Bible verses and this and then the other. Like, I think he was far more advanced, than, for his time. I mean, they already thought he was a little bit like, cuckoo. But so I think he was trying to contain that situation because he was advanced. As advanced as he was, he didn't let on the entire picture. So I think the entire picture clicks in when science meets spirituality. Okay, so that for me personally was a fucking revolution. right? So it's one thing to know, like, oh yeah, intuition. I recognized certainly in some moments, a lot of moments up until that time, that I would manifest things and they would come true verbatim and specific details and this and that. But it's a whole other story, my darling friends and listeners, to create on purpose. And that's what I have on my website, on purpose. Double meaning of the word, because there's a different meaning to that, okay? Manifesting here and there versus manifest, like here I am, I'm going to manifest. And I'm going to watch it come into fruition. Like, in other words, I'm doing it on purpose in real time. I'm not waiting, none of that, right? So that was a different understanding for me. And I realized, first of all, I got pissed off because I realized it was always there and I could have changed things right away. But of course, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I arrived at it when I did. And so when the science met the spiritual part for me, I started taking more interest in, like people like Nassim Haramein. I'm sure you've heard of him, the physicist, obviously Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, James Lipton. You name a physicist, the Green, what's his name? Bob Green, I think his name is, the physicist, all of those guys, that the quantum physicists, that any kind of theory that was out there, I would watch these fucking videos for there were 4-hour long videos, and I would be immersed in that to try to really cover the ground of every kind of understanding that was out there. I studied Abraham Hicks, not for nothing. Even the second time around, I don't know, it just some kind of an energy around her that screams being non-genuine somehow. That's what I always took away from her. And even though at times, yeah, she does make sense, but it just, and I'm going to get into it in just a bit, like what channeling means. I really, really don't think she channels. And that's why I'm getting this kind of weird vibration about her. But still studied her because, obviously it's a figure in this community. I personally, by the way, parenthesis here, absolutely love Bentinho Massaro. He's got 100K subscribers on YouTube, which is absolutely laughable. Just goes to show that it's not a measure of, subscribers and all of that shit. It's not a measure of real gold. Bentinho Massaro by far outshines right now any kind of fucking coach, teacher, contemporary, the younger generation. I think he's in his 30s. Mind-blowingly talented and just mind-bendingly brilliant guy. Recently, he's been a little bit too much into God kind of deal, as if the God is outside of us. So that kind of, I don't understand, but most of his stuff is absolutely brilliant. Florence Scovel-Shinn, absolutely adore. I also basically studied all the teachers that were in The Secret. I mean, The Secret, yeah, it kind of was an introduction, not for nothing, reintroduction, let's just say. And all of these teachers that were included in it. In other words, I studied as much as possible, everybody and anybody. There's so many more. I mean, I don't want to bore you listing all of them. And some names I don't remember. So, I was basically getting the full download of a lot of knowledge, a lot of theories, a lot of perspectives, this and that, forming my own. I wanted to come, I think unconsciously, I wanted to come out of it, just to compare all the notes with everybody out there who's been doing this work, in order to arrive to my own conclusions. That's the journalist in me. For those who don't know, I went to college for journalism. I want to really collect and dig and, really create this collage of information and then form an opinion and then form this understanding for myself, okay, and create a narrative. And I really felt like it became a part of me. And so the channeling part, like when people ask me, what is channeling? That's another question I get all the time. It's so simple. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying, as a child, I've had experiences that could not be explained to like logically thinking person, and some of them I didn't share with my parents. Okay, because, well, for obvious reasons. I think when you're a child and something paranormal kind of deal, magical but still paranormal, happens to you, I don't know, that it felt like I would be giving something away first, and second, I don't think that they would understand. Certainly not my mom. I think you know this about my mother. By now, she would make fun of everything that was dear to me, and I wasn't going to give that away. But the channeling part, I mean, I always was creative since age 5. I learned how to sew at age 5 and this and that. Took ballet, drawing, painting, you name it. Had a really great education. So I was always creative, but when it came to this, the metaphysical and the law of attraction, law of assumption, whatever you want to call it, I realized that I was channeling a lot later than I should have, I think. Because I think what channeling really represents to me is just having this connection to your higher self, uninterrupted, because for the majority of the day, an average person, not me, certainly not, but is interrupted a lot. There's a lot of pollution of the mind going on when you're bombarded by the information around you. And if you don't know how to sift through this information, it can become quite arduous to hear what the divine has in store for you, the kind of magic and miracles, and so I knew how to do that, because when I would create, like when I would create fashion or when I would write songs, which I've written songs for many years, I knew how to open that channel. It's just putting your body in a very kind of like cozy, warm, relaxed state, and allowing yourself to be receptive to the message. That's the best description. But I do it so automatically by now that you could say I'm kind of like the majority of the time I'm there, especially when I'm recording. So I don't do any kind of ritual other than I light some incense. Sometimes there's a candle, but usually incense, which you guys know I fucking adore incense for that reason. It just puts me in a state. I can't explain. Like scents, perfume, all that stuff. It just puts me in a certain state, and certain scents mean certain worlds to me. Okay. That's just how I think. Okay. I'm able to see energy also, and I've been meaning to like explain that as well. When you're coming into coaching with me, so not only do I channel for you in session, which is like it was confirmed to me over and over, to me personally, because I mean, just like everyone else, I'm always upgrading and I want to elevate my game as a coach. But so many times I would get off the phone, with my client or end the Zoom session, and I would be re-listening to it later for my notes, because that's how I do things. And I would be like, wow, who is this person talking? Like, I don't remember saying that. I would be present for the reception of the message, if you will. I see it in images, what I'm supposed to describe to my client and what I'm supposed to say. This is why it's never a good idea to interrupt me, by the way, because I need to get my fucking message out before I forget completely. Because the next thing you're going to tell me is going to produce another imagery. So just saying, okay? Yeah, and that's how it happens. And so I'm there for the reception of the message, but I'm not consciously aware entirely of the words that are coming out, if that makes any sense. Like, I caught myself a couple of times during the session where I'm like, I know I'm talking, but I have no idea what I'm saying. Meaning, like, not like I'm not following the conversation, but it's like, I don't know where this is coming from. Like, it wasn't premeditated. It's somewhere else is coming from, something else is it's coming. It was not, it was like almost like my mouth is moving for me, if that makes any sense. It's really trippy. I'm not gonna lie. But when I listen back to it, I'm actually sometimes quite impressed, because I was like, yeah, that is the perfect thing to say, or that is the perfect advice, this and any other. So that's what channeling is, being able to access the higher self. And I'm sure, I know this for certain also now through many experiences in my coaching, that provided we think alike, right? Provided our thinking is aligned, yours, my clients, and mine, which, like I said, 9% of the time it is. My higher self and your higher self, they're dancing together 100%. You know what I mean? Because we're so in sync, and it's another kind of energy that is created that, again, I cannot explain, because it's just, I know the client is feeling it, and I know I'm feeling it too, and it's just like we're on the same wavelength now. And that, that's beautiful. That shit is beautiful, and I know my client gets the best results, even not just in session because of this, but when they're not in session, when they're working, and when they come back to, like, let's just say I saw a client today, I know that if I am, like, I have to be in this channeling mode, in other words. And, this is why I'm always kind of like, make sure I'm the right person for you, listen to more stuff of mine, not just one video, because you have to be aligned with my frequency. Only the people on my frequency, somewhere, like, meaning that they resonate with what I'm saying, can be helped by me. But you will be helped in such a way that you cannot imagine right now. That, like, light that you're reaching for, if my videos or audios are evoking that out of you, it's for a reason. Like, your higher self wants you to go that route. I've heard there's so many different ways in my coaching, because, and this is why I bring it up. Like, I knew I would hire you as a coach. Like, I knew, and, people procrastinate and do all this kinds of stuff. But it's always kind of like, the message is always there, that this is kind of like the right thing to go. And that's, obviously your higher self prompting you. And so let's just say I saw a client today, we would have a session, the discussion, this energy, yet another movement of energy would happen, right? I mean, most of the time that's the case, 9 times out of 10. And during the time that I don't see my client until our next session, that energy is brewing, it's building, it's becoming alive. And when I see my client during the next session, they're already like, they've shifted. They're in another, like, world right now, in another parallel reality. Like, from one session to the next, there are times that I don't recognize my client. That's how much this energy is potent. So that's all I can say. And I'm really bewildered and magically and fantastically surprised at times. And again, not to brag on me, but just to brag on the channeling process, because, it's just magical this way. There's something else that is happening beyond words. I mean, words are words, of course, but it's the energy that makes them potent. It's the energy that delivers that extra fucking oomph that makes you go like, yeah, that, yeah, I'm feeling it. And then once you catch that energy, I mean, you're traveling worlds. I mean, what else can I say? I say this in my opening every single time. You need to detach yourself from the past timeline. And I feel like I do a good job, not for nothing. Again, not to brag. I do a really good job in seeing you through, again, provided you allow. See, this is what happens, right? If you allow yourself to let go of the drama, trauma, panorama, and I take your hand and I guide you through to the other timeline, we're good. But if you're holding on to shit, you're still stuck in the drama trauma panorama, and you're still holding on. You're holding hands with a different timeline. You're not holding, even if I pull hard as I can pull, which I don't really, that's not my style. I'm going to push you a little bit, but not, hard. I want you to make the effort as well. So you're holding hands with the other timeline, and if you're holding my hand, maybe you're not, but you see how it kind of cancels out the effort in coaching if you're still holding on to shit. That energy is completely nullifying your efforts. So your objective, this is the one kind of requisite that I have for people in my coaching, is that you have to consciously want to detach. It has to come from you. I cannot convince you to detach. Your desire has to be within you already. And you need to understand that that's exactly what needs to happen in order for a change to happen, and not insist on a certain kind of other methodology other than my own, right? So, not that, once in a blue moon, like maybe once or twice, I had this issue. But when you're going to, any kind of practitioner or any kind of professional, you trust them. And that's, a requisite with me, because I know exactly what I'm doing. I know that I can absolutely take you there. And that these methods have worked for like 9 years now for many, many different people. You name a person, they've been in my coaching, all sorts, from all walks of life, like I always say. So these methods always work. They will work for you as well. But don't argue the methods, because clearly what you're doing right now, it has not worked. So why argue? Try a different way, And yeah, if I resonate with you, I think the trust is, basically built in. I think the thinking has to very much, line up. But what's so interesting? I have to say, I'm really, really amazed and dazzled and really grateful by the quality of my clients off of YouTube. I do have my practice outside YouTube as well. I've been coaching these people for a while now, and it's a different structure. Entertainment people mostly, stand-up comedians, actors, singers, these kinds of people. And I didn't know. I honestly did not know when I came to YouTube. It's over 2 years now, and didn't know what to expect. I really didn't. I was asked to coach. I wasn't going to be coaching. Now, the other thing I want to say about that, actually, and I've been meaning to say this as well, is that because I was not going to coach on YouTube, again, my structure outside YouTube is completely different. I put together the coaching program specifically for YouTube people, out of, everything that has worked in the past for me in coaching. But it didn't happen overnight, meaning in the beginning, in other words, let me say it like this. The coaching program, the way that it looks today, is the most perfect version of it. In the beginning, there were elements, certainly, but I didn't have the same coaching structure. And so right now, what you're looking at is the perfected version of the coaching program that works like 99% of the time. Okay, you really have to not want to change at all and completely not cooperate for whatever reason to not succeed. If you need more time, okay, understand that is okay. Like, a lot of people come to me, and by the way, what age you are and all that stuff, it nothing really to do with that. It has to do with persons' upbringing, personality, their character, the way, how sensitive they are, a lot of things, what they've been through for the majority of the time. And that is completely unpredictable. okay? Because some people shift, like I said, 2 to 3 months on average is okay. But if you need more time, I would advise you that you don't feel any shame about it. I think the shameful part is not doing the work, but actually doing it in earnest. Like my favorite kind of, it's a saying, I suppose it is, by Jim Rohn, who, by the way, I've also studied. Jim Rohn was a fantastic speaker. He is really, really funny. You guys think I'm funny? Check out Jim Rohn. Really, highly recommend. He has this example on his, in one of his speeches, he goes, how long do you give your baby to learn how to walk? Oh, that's okay. You've tried once and you didn't succeed. That's it. It's over now. No, try again and try again and try again until you learn, right? I'm paraphrasing. I'm sure he says it a lot more eloquently in his own way, but and that's what it is, until you really get the hang of it. And guess what? The work really never stops. You're always elevating, but that you're getting the hang of it and you're understanding how you're really affecting your reality every single day, every minute, and that it doesn't have to be arduous. Like just arriving to this, something has to click in. It's a really powerful moment when it clicks in and you realize, I can create whenever I want to. In other words, when I'm not seeing what I want, it means I'm not fucking creating. Or creating backwards. A lot of people are creating backwards because they're afraid of this, afraid of that. That is valid. I'm not, kind of, obviously, everybody has had their own things, and so have I. But the idea is to arrive after dealing with all of that shit to this recognition of, I can never be lost again, kind of deal. I know that if I'm lost, in quotations, is because I don't fully, right this moment, give myself the power as the golden Buddha, as I call it. I've forgotten for just a second there. And, sometimes when you grow up a certain way and you have certain beliefs, you can, fall back into this victimhood. But realizing that you have never been a victim, I think it's job one. And that has to click in. And so whenever you're stuck, quote unquote, or you don't feel good and this and that and the other, it surely helps to completely eradicate any ideas that this is somehow the universe is against you and doesn't want you to have what you want. That is just fundamentally not true. And so realizing that it's up to you to step up to the plate and start painting, metaphorically speaking, as long as it takes you and as long as you're able to pick yourself up and not descend into the darkness again, that's job well done. And I'm able to do that. So in other words, listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. However long it takes you, it doesn't matter. You're not a failure. Nobody's judging you. All right. Like, this is not how your parents used to judge you. This is completely okay. This is what's supposed to happen. Like, in retrospect, not in retrospect, but in comparison, when you spend years and years, in some case decades, on having ideas and beliefs that completely do not serve you, and now dedicating, even if it's a few years, okay, to a new kind of consciousness, to acquiring new beliefs, etc. You know what? As long as you're in good hands, like years, I really mean, like when, I hear these stories in my coaching when people are hopping from coach to coach, or they're reading books, or they're watching videos and this and that. In coaching, you should be able to progress within months with me. There's no question about it. No question about it. Again, you need to come prepared to work and be receptive to new ideas. I know it's uncomfortable. I've been there. I totally understand that. But the newness, that it's scary, I get it. But understand that that's exactly what's supposed to happen for you to be able to enjoy this experience. Here on planet Earth, in this incarnation, you need new ideas. You constantly need to progress, otherwise you're regressing. So if you're stuck in your manifestations, you need to start letting in new ideas, fresh air kind of deal. So I will conclude with the last Q&A. FAQ, Q&A. FAQ, what happens in the first session? So I've discussed this already many times, but I still get this question, so I will answer again. We get together. You need to send me the coaching agreement after pre-booking and send me your availability. In other words, give me some ideas of times that you're available and let me know if it's Zoom or phone call, right? So then I will respond with my availability, will confirm, and the first session, every session is an hour. Sometimes I go over by a few minutes, but that's it. Simply because I don't want to be rude like most coaches and cut you off mid-sentence and this and that, or rush you. Not my style at all. I would like for you to finish your sentence. So my clients know this about me. Now, in this first session, we will be discussing, like I already said, the plan for your development. All right. So I will hear you out. You will tell me your story, everything that's happening now. All right, with your SP or whatever. I mean, I don't coach just in SPs. I think you guys know this by now. With your SP, with everything. I mean, more often than not, there are issues in other areas as well. Okay, because lack of confidence equals issues in SP, and lack of confidence can then translate into many other areas in life. Okay, so it is never really just that. Okay, it could be social anxiety, social issues. It could be money. It could be whatever, you name it. But it's accompanied by something at the same time, and of course, it has to do with something that you've lived, in your childhood. Now, as kind of therapy-like as that sounds, yes, I do employ therapy-like or psychology analysis, and I've taken many psychology classes, by the way. I simply didn't want to go for the degree because that's not who I want to be. I want to be a coach. So, but it's endlessly fascinating the way that mind works. Now, the reason I'm different and my process is different. Well, first of all, I'm allowed to tell you what I really think. And that's in my coaching agreement as well. I think you should understand that this is exactly what you're coming to me for. And I will never disrespect you, but I will absolutely 100% also not sugarcoat things for you. I think sugarcoating things is death to progress, quite frankly. Why the fuck would I waste your money and time on sugarcoating things for you? That's disrespectful in my view. Okay, so I'm able to tell you the truth, and through psychology, I can tell you exactly what the situation is, what you need to work on, and how to get there. And in my mind, I already kind of custom make the way that we're going to go through my coaching process. Now, again, it's a structure. There's steps, okay? You're familiar, it's a 3-step process. First, we need to cover your history, then we process emotions, and then we embark on creating your new life. Now, everything is kind of intertwined. So it's never just, we're doing one thing and one thing only. It's obvious, you're a human being, you need help in different ways, and I understand that. So understand we dive right into work. I mean, we don't wait. We don't... this is not a copy and paste process kind of situation. I give you specific assignments at the end of the session, but I most importantly want you to understand that if you don't do the work, right, that I'm suggesting, nothing's going to change. Okay? Nothing's going to change. If you're going to continue doing things the same way and it's just blah, 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 nothing's going to change. There is action needed in 3D. So this is how This is not like therapy. In therapy, you're not expected to do anything. I very much expect you to follow through on your promises of what I call homework. This is your homework. You're supposed to do that. Now, again, I don't push very hard, and I will ask you politely more than once, to bring the homework and to do the homework, but just understand that's all I can do. If you don't do it, then, it's kind of like, well, you don't do it, you don't get results kind of situation. If you don't understand something, I'm more than willing to go over it like many times over. It's my pleasure to explain it over and over. It really is. I know this is my job. I know this is my job to listen to you talk about anything as many times as you want to. That's another thing that I think therapists, not for nothing, but in my experience personally in my early 20s and what I hear from my clients, don't really have. In other words, I want you to exhaust talking about whatever bothers you as we're massaging it into whatever it is you want it to be like. This is what I do in coaching, one-on-one. This is my gift, okay? I don't want you to feel in the same way about something that bothers you anymore. This is not kind of sugarcoating again. This is a different perspective. I'm offering you a perspective shift. And in my personal experience and the experience with clients, I feel a perspective shift and an energy shift, therefore, is what will save you years, okay? Is what will save you suffering and pain, which is completely fucking unnecessary. Completely a waste of time. I mean, you could do it, but for whom? You don't get a fucking gold star. It's time wasted. Let's be honest. It's time fucking wasted. So this is why, like, if you need help, reach out, right? I mean, maybe I'm the cup of tea for you, maybe not. But do seek guidance. Do seek help. Whatever resonates with you, do try. Because doing this alone, it's just not fast enough, okay? It's not. Having an intelligent coach who has been through this process themselves and know exactly what they're talking about it's such a time saver, all right? And again, if you show up prepared for guidance and showing up prepared to work, I'm sorry, tongue twister, I suppose, there's no limit to how much you can achieve. Really, truly, truly. Okay, I see this time and time again in my coaching. Like I said, if the person comes committed to change, it's like I see a star rising, it's just incredible. It's the most breathtaking of experiences. I mean it. Again, not even patting myself on the back. It's just the process just works, So all of this to say, the first session is to plan, to give you my honest opinion, what to work on, give you homework, and establish your schedule. I see people 3 times per week in the signature coaching package, which is amazing for shocking the old system, okay, which is why it doesn't take years. Really, really, really. If you're working on something specifically 3 times a week, holy shit, fucking bananas. Like within a month, you will see the change. You will. You just will. Unless you resist me, like I said already many, many times. Okay, the last question, and then I'll wrap it up. If you're going on vacation, if you're traveling, all of that stuff, if you're during coaching. Now, this is what I will say, okay? Ideally speaking, you're sticking to coaching and there's no interruptions. Now, of course, I understand that sometimes things may arise, okay? Like, yes, a vacation in the middle of coaching, or maybe it's your birthday or whatever, and it's a day here, a day there. Totally cool, all right? What I don't like is cancellations of sessions and it being repetitive. So you can do that, but understand that you're going to be losing sessions. I will make a rare exception, like I said. When, like I said, things come up and I get it, we have lives, etc. Totally will replace that session for you. But if it's in a row and it's, consistently you're missing sessions, understand that's fine, but you're going to be losing sessions because I just, I need you to respect my time. When I'm booking you because you're now in coaching with me. And there's only that many people that I can book. So if you've booked my time, but you didn't show up, I was available. In other words, if you don't respect your time, I certainly respect mine. And lastly, but not least, everything is recorded in coaching. I should put this in my coaching agreement now that I'm thinking about it. But everything's recorded. Recorded for what? For notes, for you to rewatch. I think it's very therapeutic for people to rewatch themselves. For some people, it's hard, but that's even more of a reason to do that. It's very therapeutic because you're looking at yourself, and it could be very, very eye-opening. Really, really therapeutic and eye-opening. And also for you to take notes. I insist that you take a truckload of notes in my coaching, as do I, obviously, and of course, a tremendous amount of notes. And at the end of the coaching, you walk away with all of this material that you are able to rewatch. And if you're in coaching with me for, let's just say, 3 months, 3 times 12, 36 sessions. So that's a lot of material to go back to and revisit. And I don't know about, everybody else, but when I rewatch sessions from my coaching, I get a lot more the second time around. Sometimes I re-listen to some passages more than once. There's a lot of information to how people talk, what they choose to say, how they choose to say, and it will be revealing to you even down the line because, again, evolution and progress, it comes in waves. And there's some things, some aha moments that will click in maybe later, maybe even after the coaching is complete. And you will want to revisit it one day and something will click in on such a level that you'll be like, wow, this is profound download right now, With the phone calls, same deal. They're all recorded and you always send a copy. I mean, unless I haven't mentioned it. Yeah, you always send a copy, of course. You have all that material. I mean, I think it's obvious, right, from what I said. I just wanted to make sure. I don't know. And yeah, in the phone calls, listening to the session, listening to yourself, a lot can be, again, processed later. So understand it's always on up and up as long as you're making progress. And progress does come in waves, but as long as the trajectory is pointing up, right? So it's kind of like the stock market. Sometimes it's down, sometimes it's up. But if overall it's going up, you're doing a great job, okay? You really are. And it's just like everything. After you've concluded the coaching, you continue on your trajectory as long as it's pointing up. So if it's not pointing up and you need guidance, it's your duty to do something about it. Don't wait for anything or anyone to save you or whatever. Change. No, nothing's going to change until you change. So these are like the top questions that come up. If you have any more questions that are pressing right now, you can send me an email. I also will be recording since we missed the live today. And again, very sorry, but it is what it is. So I will be recording something either tomorrow or Monday. I think the topic that I was going to discuss, I'm going to leave that for Saturday, next Saturday. But I will be recording something else. And if you're new to my channel, if you're just learning about me, subscribe, make sure you like this audio. And here's another thing I wanted to share really quick. So that's another question actually that I forgot about and I just remembered. Thank you. Higher self. Why do I record audios? I've been asked this before. many times. This is how I channel best. That's the best answer I've got. That's how I channel best. And I'm being completely transparent and honest. I also channel best when I am in front of my clients or when I am during the live. Okay. When I'm by myself with a camera, it's not exactly the same. So that's why I haven't made a lot of videos. I can feel it's not the same. I can get into it. But to give you an idea of how I record, and that was another thing, actually somebody asked me, is I get to pause. Like this recording right now, I paused it many times. And I think you can tell it when I stop it. And then it's like, it's abrupt how it ends the word. Again, that's just how it is. But I get to stop it and I get to tune back into the message. During a taping of a video, I don't get to do that. And yeah, you can get into editing and this and that. But I'm going to kind of like work up that muscle, perhaps, to make videos more, because I know you guys love to see my face and all this kind of stuff. What I'm saying is that the audio, this is why audios are my preferred, is because audios are more saturated with this energy of the highest kind, and the highest way to express what I wanted to express. With videos, I don't, again, with the exception of lives, I don't always feel like I've 100% achieved what I wanted to achieve. So it's difficult to explain, but I hope it makes sense. So this is why I love recording audios. And this is something that is going to stay on my channel. All right. I know you guys love to see my face, blah, 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 but get used to it. That's the deal. I'm giving it to you straight, like pure gold information that I wish somebody gave me like many years ago. So you can benefit from it. But yeah, of course, I'm going to go live and once in a while I'll make a video. But yeah, eventually maybe there'll be an editor and blah, blah, blah. But I kind of want to have this interaction with you guys on my channel also, and I hope that you enjoy that, because for me this is how I enjoy it the most. Because if I can just zero in on the message, what I have to say, like right now I wasn't going to record anything at all until tomorrow, maybe Monday, but I felt inclined and inspired to record this for some reason. This is what channeling is. And this, is very hard to do when, let's just say, you need to look a certain way with makeup on and this and that in front of a camera. So it takes some time to set it up. And in that process, you lose some of that shit. You understand? So again, this is a muscle I'm going to build up. I promise to work on that to be more of a channeler, like in front of a camera. In front of a person, it just goes automatic for me. Because, again, I see the person's energies around them. I don't know how to explain it yet. I just feel the energy. It's not like I see it physically being there, but I see it energetically. Let's just say it like that. And then the answers come. But if I'm just sitting there, I need a different muscle. So anyway, this is why I record audios, and this is why they're so good. Again, not to pat myself on the back, but they are what they are. All right, guys, so this is long enough, something for you to listen to tie you over. And like I said, I will record I have a bunch of ideas. I think you will enjoy this topic very much. We're going to dive into parallel realities again, but I'm going to, again, record it tomorrow or Monday. All right? Thank you so much for listening. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Until next time, ciao, ciao.